Hi guys, it's Angela with Panda Kisses, and today we are going to be making the Smore Zipper Bag by Parker on the Porch. This is what it looks like on my machine. We're going to go ahead and start our steps. I have my 5x7 hoop with tearaway stabilizer on here, just one sheet. And I'm going to make the 5x5 bag, so I have that size loaded. We're going to do enclosed seams, so I have that file loaded. I'm going to go ahead and stitch my first step, which is going to go ahead and do that placement step right there. So get your thread in your machine and go ahead and stitch the first step directly onto your tearaway. Okay guys, this is what that placement step looks like. It goes ahead and shows you what size fabric you're going to need, but it shows you where to place your zipper, and that's what our next step is. So we're going to go where the zipper is. These two are outer placement lines for the zipper, and this middle line right here is where your zipper teeth should be lined up to. So I'm going to go ahead and use this brown zipper. It depends which way your bag will open on which way you place this zipper pull. So if you want it to unzipper from this direction, place it this way. If you want it the other one, if you wanted to pull from this side, switch it the other way. Just flip your zipper like this instead. I like my zipper over here, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then you just line it up between these placement lines right here. Get an even, make sure it's even all the way across. You can tape either side, or you can hold it. I hold it with my hands. Just move my hands out of the way. Okay, so our next step is going to go ahead and do a stitch line right below your zipper teeth, and then jump and go right above your zipper teeth. It looks like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like here. We went ahead and tacked down our zipper. You can see that it's tacked down to our stabilizer. It went ahead and stitched a line below and above that zipper right there. So we are going to go ahead and move to the next step. Our next stitch step is to go ahead and place this bottom fabric right here. And on this s'mores bag, the layer that you want to place right here first is going to be the color of your chocolate. So that oozing chocolate that's coming down right here, that's what color you want to place right here. So I'm going to go ahead and use this right here. It's just a vinyl. So I'm going to go ahead and place it right next to my stitch line right here. And you just want to make sure that it's bigger than this placement stitch. One little cheat that I do, this is a 5x5 bag. You can see I have a little book right here, and if I make a size bag, I go ahead and I do the measurements, and then I write them all down so I don't ever have to measure them again. So that's how I do it. But if you're measuring for the first time, you just put your ruler right next to the teeth, zipper teeth, and measure all the way down. Make sure you get a big enough piece that goes down, and then you need to measure this direction as well. I use rolls, so all mine are always bigger than this part anyway, so I never take that measurement. But then the next step you're going to have to do, you're going to have to measure from the zipper teeth right here and measure up and make sure it's wide enough. That would be your second piece that you're doing for the front, bottom, front, top. And then you need a whole piece from the top to the bottom, this width right here, this height, that's going to be the back of your bag, but the outside. So this is outside front, outside top, bottom, top, and then this full piece is going to be the outside back of your bag. So you need those three pieces, so you'll be placing them like this. This will be the color. The color you want to use is for the chocolate, the oozing chocolate. You add the other colors later and applique, so I'm not measuring those right now. I'm using this for my top right here. This is like a gold piece. This is like your graham cracker crust, so whatever color you want for your graham cracker, you place right here. You'll be placing another piece of this later down here, but it's an applique, so we'll measure that when we do the applique. So you need that piece. And then for the outside back of your bag, I'm going to use the same color as the graham cracker, so you need a piece that's big enough to cover this whole thing. Now I would do a little extra. I wouldn't do it so tight that you're just super close on this last one, because if you're putting lots of stuff on the inside of your bag and it's a little bulky, like if you're adding clips and stuff, this is going to sit up farther. If you measured it exactly, you're going to have a hard time holding this down flat when you have stuff on the inside. So I always make my back outside piece a little bit bigger. Not, you can see about how big I made it. It's not super big. but it's bigger than that stitch line. So if you're just doing vinyl, that's all you need. You need this piece, and this piece for your bag. There's 2 appliques here that we're going to do that we'll measure later. But as far as your bag, the outside of your bag, that's all you need. Now we're doing a liner in this video, so I'm going to go ahead and show you. You want to use woven fabric or felt or whatever. I'm using woven fabric as my liner. So here it is. The way that I measure, I do a true double because you need a clean edge. Woven fabric has frayed edges. So you need to get a clean edge to sit up along the zipper right here. You can't just put a raw edge right there because it's going to fray and it's going to look really terrible. So I do a true double. I measure from my zipper teeth down, which I already know that measurement is a little bigger than 4. So I measured a little bigger than 8 because I do a true double. And then I fold it in half, I iron it, and then you can see you will place this right next along your zipper, and there you go. You want your fabric a little bit longer than this spot right here, because later we're going to be closing a hole in your fabric, and I'm going to show you how to do it using glue, and we kind of sandwich it. So you need a little extra fabric. If you cut this really close to here, you're going to have a hard time gluing it together. So make sure you leave yourself a little bit extra on your liners. Okay, so there's that piece. Then I measure from the zipper teeth here and above, and I do a true double on that one because you also need a clean edge above. So there you go. I went ahead and measured it, folded it, ironed it. It's just woven fabric, folded and ironed. And that's your 2 inside liner pieces. Now, the last liner piece does not need to be doubled because it is not needing a clean edge. So I went ahead and measured from the top to the bottom, side to side, and then this is the piece I have for that. So this is a true double, or not a double, sorry. This is a not doubled is what I was trying to say. And then on the bottom, make sure you leave a little bit extra. I have it measured like this. So you have a little bit extra down here. So when we go ahead and glue, we're fine. You just want to make sure you get all the way around your placement stitches. Again, this piece is not doubled because you don't need a clean edge. Okay, so that's the fabric you need. I have 3 liners and I have 3 outside vinyl pieces. And then we're going to have a couple appliques, but I'll show you how to do those as we're going. See you at the machine. Okay, we are back at our machine, and we are going to go ahead and stitch our 3rd step, which is placing this bottom fabric, the oozing chocolate. Remember, you just need to get your fabric placed above the stitch line and the placement line all the way around. That's your only key. That's where it's going to stitch. I place mine all the way next to my zipper, but you can see here that you do not have to do that. You could leave a little bit more of your zipper showing if you want to see more of that chocolate color. I always place mine next to my zipper because I don't want to miss that stitch line. The other reason I place it all the way next to my zipper is because then it can be, I know that it's straight. If I try to angle it and get above, then I might not be completely straight and it might look all wonky. So anyways, those are the 2 reasons I do it, but you just have to get above that stitch line and you will be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 3. I'll come back and show you. You can see that it went ahead and stitched down our oozy chocolate. It's going to look like chocolate later. This is our graham cracker piece up here, so we are going to place this now. Whatever color you are using for your graham cracker crust, go ahead and place that on the other side of your zipper. Just make sure you're covering all those stitch lines, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch 4. It's going to tack that down. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, that's what it looks like. It went ahead and stitched that down up there. We are moving on to our next step. It's going to go ahead and do the placement stitch for the applique for the marshmallow color, the white. So that's what it looks like. I'm leaving it brown, and I'll show you why. I know it's the marshmallow, but you won't see this brown. We're going to actually stitch this oozy chocolate line before we stitch the white one down here. So I'm leaving it brown, and you'll want to too, or whatever color you're using for that. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that placement stitch, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. You're just stitching it directly on here. Nothing needs to be done, just stitch step 5. Okay guys, here's that placement stitch. It's a little hard to see because I used brown, but it's basically this right here up in this whole oozy chocolate thing. This is why the oozy chocolate goes first, because this is still going to be shown. We're going to put an applique right here in this section. So you want to measure this section right here, and you want to get a piece of fabric, whatever you're using for the marshmallow. I'm going to use this awesome fluidity. If you've never used this, it's super awesome. All my links at the end of the video, if you go to see more or show more, whichever it says, I have all my links to everything I use, and I buy my vinyl from my Embroidery. And this Fluidity, it's called Fluidity. There's several colors. It kind of is furry on the inside, and you can see the movement, and it's not rough or anything, but you can see the movement. So you want to go ahead and place it over these stitch lines. I'm not, this was a scrap sheet, so I probably wouldn't have measured this big, but you just want to make sure it goes all the way around your stitch lines right there. So I'm going to go ahead and place it here. I'm going to stitch the next step, and then I'll show you what we do next. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and did the tack down stitch on your fabric. This is called appliquing. Whenever you put fabric on top of fabric, you're appliquing. So next what we want to do is we want to cut around this, and I'm going to show you how I do this. I use applique scissors. They're just rounded scissors. These allow you to get really close to the stitches without actually cutting your stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this bottom piece here, and I just hold the edge and I just cut. Now we're not going to cut our sides right here because we're going to let those stitch into the bag. If you cut these really close right here, you're going to pull away from your bag, and that's not going to look good. So I leave these that go off the edge. We're going to cut around all of these right now. We'll see if I can do it fast enough. Sometimes I wonder if I should just pause and cut this part out. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I'm doing a tutorial, so you should probably show it, but I don't know. I think you guys get the idea. Cut around these. Now you want to get as close as you can. I'm going to go back and clean them up with another scissors probably after this, because I can only get so close while I'm cutting around. But you want to get as close as you can to your stitch lines, because we're going to do applique or satin stitches next, and you want to make sure those satin stitches can cover any excess fabric. If this fabric shows on the other side of your satin stitches, your project's going to look really yucky. Okay, so let me get this off. Okay, now I'm going to go in here and clean this up a little bit because this is not close enough. You will definitely see these. So I'm just going to come in here and come from the other direction so I can get this excess off. And you can see with this Fluidity, it's a little furry right there. It's from the backing of the fabric. So our next step is going to be this chocolate is going to get satin stitched like this. So I'm going to use brown. It's going to go all the way along here, and it's going to have a really thick satin stitch. But you want to make sure that all your fabric is out of the way, that you don't want to see like all this excess right here. Because it would look, like I was saying, it would look really bad if you did the satin stitch, but then you could still see this white fabric on this side. That would look bad. So get as close as you can. And then I will meet you back at the machine, and I'll show you what we're doing next. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. I went ahead and cut around that, and now I'm going to go ahead and place it on our machine, and then we're going to go ahead and stitch the next step, which is going to be that satin stitch I was talking about, the oozy chocolate. So I have a brown in here, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, there's those satin stitches. You can see them all there. So I'm going to put them back on my machine. I'm going to stitch the next step, which is the placement stitch for the other piece of graham cracker that we're going to put on the bottom. So this is another placement stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that directly there, and I'll come back and show you guys. There's the placement stitch. It's basically just from this top stitch right here down to here. So I'm going to go ahead and place my fabric, make sure that it is bigger than that, and I'm going to go ahead and place it like this. And I'm going to place it a little bit under that stitch line so it can be folded into the bag as well. So there you go. And I'm using that same glitter vinyl. That's going to be the bottom of my graham cracker. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch the next step, which is going to tack that down. I'll come back and show you. Okay, this is what it looks like right here. Now we're going to go ahead and trim just this top excess off because it's going to do satin stitches right here. So I went ahead and take my applique scissors again, and you're just going to cut straight across here. Now you're going to want to make sure that you have a sharp, like a new needle on your machine, because this is going through several layers. I just actually had to change the needle in my machine because it didn't want to, it wasn't doing very good. Okay. So if you're having issues getting all the way through, like my thread kept bunching up and stuff, I just changed my needle and it worked fine. It's just, I'm going through 3 layers of vinyl here. I'm going through this gold vinyl, I'm going through the fluidity vinyl, and I'm going through this chocolate vinyl to do this piece. So if you're having any issues, that is why. Okay, so now it's going to go ahead and do satin stitches right along here, and I'm going to go ahead and change my thread to white, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Satin stitch that we just did. So now we're going to go ahead and stitch the next step, which is step 11, and put your cute little pink color you want in there for the cheeks and go ahead and stitch it. Now if you didn't want a face on your s'mores bag, you can just skip these steps. I'll show you how. I already have control on my machine, but if I didn't have control, you go ahead down here, this plus minus right here with the needle, that will bring up your steps and your stitches. So down here, these plus and minuses with the needles, that jumps forward that number of stitches within a step, so forward or backwards if you're doing the plus or the minus. These spools right here, they go forward and backwards steps. So if you do not want to stitch out this face and you just want a s'mores bag without a face, go ahead and press your plus spool right here. You can see that it jumps. Then step 12, you don't want the eyes and the face. Then you're going to go ahead right there. That's our liner. So you could skip those 2 steps if you wanted. I'm going to go back because I'm actually going to stitch mine. Okay, so I'm back to step 11. And go ahead and stitch on this cute pink, and I will come back and show you what that looks like. Cheeks right there. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next step right there. Step 12, we're going to do the eyes and the mouth. I changed to black, and I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, this is what it looks like right now. It is super cute. There's your front. We got all our details done on our front. Now we're going to flip our hoop to the back underneath part of your hoop, and we are going to do liner. This is what your underneath looks like. So we're going to go ahead and get that liner that we measured, which I have right here, and we are going to place this bottom part first. So I'm going to take a highlighter. I'm going to mark what stitch line. You can see there's lots of stitch lines right here. You want the middle one. So you have this one, and then you have that one and that one. So you want this middle line right here. This is actually the stitch line that lines up with your zipper teeth. So that's the one that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it with this highlighter so you can see a little better. That one. That's the one you want. So I'm going to take my fabric that we've already prepped. I'm going to take the clean edge and I'm going to place it right next to that stitch line right there. Okay, and then I'm going to just take tape, and I'm just using regular old like Scotch tape. You can use whatever you like. You really just need to hold it down because it's underneath your hoop while it's stitching, because our next step is going to go ahead and do that placement line, and it's going to attack this fabric to the front of your bag. Okay, so we have it stitched, we have it taped down. We're going to go back to our machine and we're going to stitch the next step, which is basically going to stitch around this whole line, and then it's going to attach that to the bag. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and stitched around here, so now this is tacked. You can see that your clean edge is all nice right next to your zipper opening. Okay, so now our next step is to go ahead and place the liner fabric on the top. So you go ahead and place this on the other side of that stitch line and tape it down. And it is going to do the exact same thing, but it's going to stitch the placement line for up here, attaching this piece of your liner to your bag. So you can see there, it's going to go ahead and go around this stitch line right here, and it's going to go ahead and attach it to your bag. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that next step, and I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, here's what the front of our bag looks like right now. Here's what the underneath of our hoop and the liner looks like right now. They're both tacked down, so that looks great. Now we're going to put the back of the bag onto the front right here. We're going to enclose this bag. So this is where we go ahead and open our zipper. So you want to open your zipper, as far as you can get it without going over your stitch lines. You want to leave enough room for the foot of your machine to get by here because it still has to stitch several times. So I open it as far as I can where I know it's gonna, your foot of your machine will miss this zipper pull. So you want it big as you can because you're gonna flip through this zipper. So the bigger this opening is, the easier it's gonna be to flip. But you also don't want the foot of your machine to hit your zipper pull because that will ruin your bag. Okay, so open your zipper. You have to. If you don't open your zipper, your bag is ruined. Okay. So now this is where you add stuff to your bag if you want stuff to be on your bag. If you want to make it a purse, you can put straps in here. If you want to do the little hanging lobster clasp, I was going to show you, this is called a D-swivel lobster clasp. It just opens and this can then, you can hang your bag on backpacks and different things. I'm going to use one of these. I'm going to use this right here. You can use ribbon. You can use fold over elastic, which is stretchy elastic. You can use whatever you want. This is a twill. It's cotton. It says blank cotton twill. I'm not sure where I got it. I think it's probably Stamping Up stuff. But anyways, because I'm a scrapbooker too. But anyways, you go ahead and put your ribbon or whatever you're using through your clasp like this. And then you place it wherever you want to place it. You can place it anywhere along the stitch lines, this outside stitch line, because when we put the back of our bag on, we're going to put it like this, and it's going to stitch around this several times. So whatever you put here will get basically stitched into your bag, and you can do it along any place on this line. I'm going to go ahead and place it like right here. Now, depending on where you place it will determine how long this is. Like if you placed it like this, it's going to stitch along those stitch lines. So you're going to have it pretty long. It's going to fold up like that. I'm going to make it shorter than that, but just to know that's whatever you do is going to, how far you place it is going to determine where it exactly is. I wonder if I should do it like along the zipper line. Yeah, I think I'm going to just do it like right along that zipper, and I want it about that big. Okay, so I'm going to place it. You want to place your hardware or whatever you're keeping on the inside of your bag, because we're going to cut all the way around this bag. So whatever you're keeping goes on the inside. Don't do it on the outside the way you want it to look in the end, because you're going to end up cutting all that off. It won't be there. So when your bag is done stitching and you flip it, it's going to actually be like this. It's going to flip. But when you're stitching, you want it on the inside. Now I'm also going to put this cute little love. It says, sorry, it's upside down. It says love right there. I'm going to put this down here just as like a little tag thing. So you're going to want to line up your love. I'm going to line it up how I want it. I want just that love right there to show. Now you're going to have to place it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and place it down here. Like, I want it to be, wait, I hope I'm doing it the wrong way, sorry. I want it to be like that in the end, so it just kind of sits like that. So you want to, the loop's right here, see the loop? You want to place that on the inside, because if you place it the other way, it's going to get cut off. So I look at where the stitch lines are going to go, and I place it like that. And then I'm just going to tape it down. And I'm ready to go. I have the two things that I want on my bag, and I have my zipper open, which is most important. Now you're going to take your fabric. If you're doing fabric, I'm doing vinyl. You're going to take the right side. See, the right sides are facing up. We're going to take the right side of your fabric and we're going to place it against the right side that's there. So right sides together. And you just want to make sure that your fabric is bigger than what's here, and I think mine actually fits this way better. Okay, so you just want to make sure it's big enough to go over all those stitch lines. And then this was what I was talking about, like it can be kind of bulky in here, which means you need more fabric when you're cutting. You can't just be exactly next to the stitch lines. Okay, but this is plenty. So I'm going to go back to my machine. I'm going to run the next step. I think it's step 15. And it's basically just going to stitch all the way around this placement line several times. And then that's going to basically close your bag. And I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and stitched it all the way around so it's enclosed. This is why you need your zipper open, because there would be nowhere to flip your bag if it wasn't open, so you'll flip through this hole later. But next, we're going to do our very last stitch step. We're going to go ahead and put the other piece of our liner on. So you want to, this is the right sides of your fabric. You want to do the right side of your fabric together, facing down, right sides together. And you're going to want to make sure that you get all the way around this placement stitch, because it's basically going to stitch around the same placement stitch, but it's going to leave a hole right here. So I'm going to go ahead and place my fabric, make sure it's right sides together all the way over. I'm going to take tape and I'm going to tape this down. You just need to temporarily hold it until the stitches go in and attach it. I'm going to go ahead and put this tape down here. Now you're going to leave a little extra fabric down here, because remember, we're going to close this hole with fabric and we're going to glue it. So don't do it so close to the stitch line. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take that over to my machine. I'm going to stitch that last step and then I'll come back and show you how we flip this bag. Okay guys, this is what the front of your bag looks like. And this is what the back looks like, and it left the hole down here at the bottom like I said. So now we can take it off of our hoop. We are officially done stitching. Okay. Move that over there. Okay, I'm going to take the stabilizer off. All the tape and stuff that's in the way. Okay. Now when you cut this, I actually watch this bottom right here. You can't just like cut all the way around the bag, because this bottom, you want some extra fabric here. So I always try cut this part first and prep it. And in prepping it, I cut this excess vinyl so it's not in the way. And actually there's one piece of fabric you don't need. Okay, oops, me tape sticks to you. Okay, so if you look here, there's a hole right there. That's your first place we're going to flip. So you only need the two pieces of fabric that make that hole, these two pieces. This other piece is just extra too. And you're not going to want this extra bulk at the bottom of your bag. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this, but I'm going to watch that I don't cut this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure you don't cut your, I'm going to hold it down like this. Make sure you don't cut your stitch lines either. You don't want that. I'm going to take some super bulky scissors because there is a lot of vinyl here. Okay, make sure I'm not cutting that. And I'm just going to cut close to my stitch lines without cutting my stitch lines to get all this excess bulk off. So that's garbage. Okay, so now we still have these two fabrics right here. Now, the way that I cut it so I don't mess it up is I cut at an angle to these stitch lines right here. And then I go ahead and cut around. Now, the only place you have to watch is the bottom. You can cut all the way around the rest. Just don't cut any of the stitches. Just cut all the way around. You want to cut the zipper off, everything. You need bulky scissors because you're cutting a lot of layers. Okay, so you want sharp, good scissors. Okay, and cut down here. Okay, we are getting down to this edge. Now this other edge we want to cut at an angle too. So I'm going to go ahead and cut like this. Oops, I cut some of it. It's okay. And you don't want to do what I just did. And then you cut like that. But it's okay because we're going to glue down there. Okay, so then this is more than you need. You just want to be able to fold the fabric in. So, oops, like that. Okay, so there we go. You have this. You have that. That's what it looks like. And you're going to want to go ahead and we're going to flip through this now. And this is cotton fabric, so the edges can kind of tear. You want to be kind of careful. But like I said, we're gluing this, and this is the bottom inside of your bag. So you won't really see it, and we'll just glue it. So I'm going to flip this, and it takes a little bit of effort to flip. So let me just start going. I'm going on this side first, and I just try to get the corner through first, and I try not to tear it, and I just get the corner going, and then I just start pulling through. Okay, and depending on what fabric you have, if you used like felt, this is really super easy. If you used marine vinyl, is super thick. Canvas vinyl is actually the thinnest one, so that works really easy. But you can see it's not like too hard, and I have lots of layers of vinyl in here, and some of them were thinner vinyl, some were thicker vinyl, so it still flipped okay. So you don't have to make it perfect because we're going to flip again through our zipper. See our zippers here now? We're going to flip again through there, but now we're going to go ahead and glue this bottom. So you want to make sure the bottom's as good as you can get it because you're going to be gluing down here. Okay, and I tore this edge, so that's lame, but that's okay. I'll show you how to fix it if you tear it. Okay, so I use this fabric tack glue. If you want to sew this, you're more than welcome to, like, I just fold this over. This is why you need the extra fabric. I fold this over and then I glue it like this, basically is what I'm doing. If you leave a little excess past your vinyl, you could easily just sew a straight stitch right there. It's on the bottom. You're not going to want to stitch through your vinyl, but you could have like a little lip right there if you just wanted to use your sewing machine and went zoop. But glue is so easy. It's not a big deal. I use this fabric tack glue. It works really good. It dries between 3 and 5 minutes. It's clear. It doesn't end up being hard and crusty on the bottom of your bag. So, sorry, I'm moving the camera while I'm trying to get the glue down. So that's what I use. And I'm going to show you how to use it here in a second. I'm going to actually clip my bag first. So I use these little Wonder Clip things right here. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and what you want to do is line up your fabric first, and then you just go ahead and sandwich the two like this, like that. And then I put the little clips here. You get it all lined up exactly how you want it, and then you're just going to glue between it. So okay, so I just have it here. I'm just going to glue that part down. I tore it right there. But it's on the inside bottom of my bag, so I'm not that worried about it, okay? So I have it lined up, so I'm going to take the glue, make sure it's down. Okay, it's coming out. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. I'm actually going to glue this little bit that was tore. See, I'm just putting a little bit of glue right here. I'm going to fix that little spot that tore, and then I'm going to put the glue between the two layers so we can glue that as well. So if you push it down, put that up. Now if you tear it really bad, another thing you can do, which I can actually show you that way too because mine tore pretty good this time, you can actually put this whole side down like this, and then you can leave excess. This is why it's nice to have excess right here. You can have like a little lip like this, and you can actually glue it over instead of completely sandwiched. You can glue it over a little bit like this, and then you'd have a straight edge thing and you won't see anything. So I'm actually going to do that because that will work a little better for mine, the way mine is. I think I did that on another one too where it tore just a little more than I liked. Okay. So I'm just going to put some right here. And I'm going to glue over it like that. Okay. And then I just put the clip there and I move on to the next part. I'll put a little more glue. It's really fast. You put a little glue right here. There's that part that tore. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that up like that. And I'm going to clip right there. Okay, and then I'm going to fix this little part right here that tore. Okay. Put down. I'm going to put that up and over. Okay. There you go. And it looks perfectly fine. So I'm going to let this glue sit for 3 to 5 minutes, and then I'll come back and show you how to flip through the zipper. In the meantime, you can see, like, you can open your zipper, you can pull it. There is stabilizer between your zipper and this liner right here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that all out. See how there's liner here? I'm going to pull all this out. And then there's also one placement string right here. You're going to pull that. I just want to make sure you got this pulled out. Okay, so clean that up and then let that dry, and I'll come back and show you the next step. Okay guys, it's been 3 to 5 minutes. It's all glued. You can take these off now. And you can see that your bottom's glued. I have it glued over the edge. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. I went ahead and cleaned up my zipper. We're gonna flip through this part now. So I'm gonna go ahead and start just flipping. It's easier to flip through this one because, and this bag's really small, it's 5 by 5. So that's another thing. It's easier to flip through this side because the zipper's bigger. So I'm just gonna like kind of pull this out, kind of pull it gently because you don't wanna rip your vinyl from your satin stitches either. Okay, so I'm just gonna push through gently. Okay, get that part out. The vinyl kind of sticks together, so. Oops. And flip this top part. Okay, we are almost flipped. This one's sticking together down here. Okay, now I'm going to use this right here. This is a turning system. You can use a chopstick or the end of a eraser. Kind of be careful when you do this because you could still go through all the way through your bag, through the corner. And that would not be fun. I'm going to try to get these corners out before I do that. Okay. I was just putting both my thumbs in there and pushing so I can get it a little better than it was. Okay. So now I'm just going to get the extra little tiny bits out. Okay. This bag is so cute. Okay, let me zipper it up. Let me show you it. This is your s'mores bag right here. It's super cute. Has the little love tag that we planned out and has the little lobster clasp thing that can be held. So this is what the front of our bag looks like. Cute little s'more. And there's the back of the bag. Now I'm going to open up the zipper. Now this is fully lined, so you can see our gray fabric. You can't see any of the seams. It's completely sealed. You don't see any of the stitches. It's really cute. This is a cute, cute size. I like this 5 by 5 size. It would be really cute to put a gift card in here and give it to teachers and stuff, or a friend or whatever. Just a cute little bag. It's adorable. I hope you guys like this tutorial. I hope it helps you figure out what issues you were having. There's like 3 or 4 people that were requesting this one, so hopefully that helps you. And if you want to see any of the materials or anything I use, go ahead in the show more. Also, if you like my ColorStreet nails, I sell the ColorStreet nails. Go and join my Facebook group. Go to the See More and join my Facebook group. I'll send you a free sample. Just say you want one. I'll mail you one for free. You can try it out. They're super cute, super fun. Enjoy your day, and I will see you in the next tutorial.